Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Saints injury report is out for Thursday, and there is good news for New Orleans. And the best news really is that Alvin Kamara, who missed practice on Wednesday, was back. That is a big exhale for the New Orleans Saints. Now, Kamara was just limited, but that shows that he's trending toward playing, listed with hip and rib injuries. So, Kamara, the one sort of knock here recently is Kamara has not been able in the last 3 years to stay healthy and play a full season. Obviously, he's demanding position. He's a 29-year-old running back, continue to age. We understand all that. But Kamara returning is really significant. Some of the other change in designations, Alontae Taylor, who missed Wednesday with an illness, was back, full participant. That's really good news as well. And then there are two new additions to the injury report. A.T. Perry and Cedric Wilson, who were not listed on the injury report Wednesday, meaning they were practicing, they were listed on Thursday. So A.T. Perry with a hamstring injury did not practice. Cedric Wilson limited with an ankle injury. The others, the most concerning, are Demario Davis and Cesar Ruiz, two veterans who did not practice either Wednesday or Thursday. Demario Davis with a hamstring, and then Cesar Ruiz with the knee injury suffered on Sunday against the Philadelphia Eagles. The other, Derek Carr, Taysom Hill, both full participants. DeMarco Jackson, Colin Saunders, and Landon Young. Young was a full participant. Forgive me. Jackson and Saunders were both limited. So I want to run through this here and why this is significant. Some of it may seem obvious, but we'll just go through it anyway. So remember, you lose your starting center in Erik McCoy. He's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. We know that. Lucas Patrick shifts over to play center. And then we'll see what you do there at left guard. I don't know if that means Nick Saldiveri. They signed Shane Lemieux from the practice squad onto the active roster. He could certainly be a candidate there as well. Oli Udoh is the guy who went in the game Sunday against Philadelphia when the injury happened. So we'll see how all of this shakes out a little bit. But you're already disrupted at center and left guard. Now Cesar Ruiz has not practiced Wednesday or Thursday of this week with a knee injury. And if he is a DNP on Friday, it is unlikely he plays. It is just rare in the NFL that if you're not at least on the field by Friday, that you're playing by Sunday. So remember, Dennis Allen throughout camp reminded us several times, we played the audio for you, there's two guys that he knew coming into this season they felt good about, even coming out of camp. And it was McCoy and Ruiz. Well, McCoy's out 6 to 8 weeks. Now Ruiz hadn't practiced this week. So the bottom line is that offensive line, which struggled so mightily against Philadelphia, might be even thinner this week if Ruiz isn't good to go. And with a big old dude like Grady Jarrett in the middle of that defense, that is an unenviable ask for those guys there on the interior. Now, Lucas Patrick and Shane Lemieux both met with reporters. Patrick was asked about the difficulty of doing what he did, which is, man, you're playing left guard, you prepare the whole week at left guard, 3 plays in, boom, now you're the center.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge, but it's something I'm prepared for and something I'm aware of. If something, like last game, something were to happen to E, I know I'm next man up there, and got to rely on my snaps and this offense and experience of this scheme, kind of understanding things, even if maybe different look or whatever, just understanding my rules and being ready to go when necessary.
A guy that's played in the NFL for as long as he is, you don't necessarily worry about him, as he said, the rules, the snaps, all this stuff. That's the thing that's natural. But there is just you want to be able to play fast and free. And when you're thinking, and especially when you got Jalen Carter staring at you, that's really tough to do. Having this week to prepare is a benefit. Now, the downside is, obviously, you don't know if Cesar Ruiz is going to be next to you on the right side or if it's going to be someone else. The Saints, as we mentioned, did sign Shane Lemieux from the practice squad. This is another veteran who they acquired in the offseason, was battling for those interior spots. Lemieux's a guy that has played guard, but as he said, this is the first time he's ever played center.
This is my first year playing center, so it's been trial by fire, and I've had all of OTAs, all in training camp, and then now on practice squad, I've been playing a lot of center. So every day I learn more and more about the position, and it's fun. It's a good challenge, a challenge I've always wanted to do ever since I got into the NFL. And this year I took it really seriously, and I've gotten better every single day at it.
So just to further illustrate, like, this is the real challenge whenever you lose guys at spots like that. Because not only do you have the domino effect of, all right, Patrick's no longer at left guard, he's at center, you got a backup at left guard, and then if Ruiz is out as well, now you have a backup at right guard, and so you have that domino effect, but then also your depth is affected. What happens in game if someone has to exit? Now it's complicated even further. In game, when McCoy comes out, great. You've got Lucas Patrick, who's played a ton of football. He's played more than 2,000, just under 2,000 snaps in his career at center. You know he can do that. Well, now the challenge becomes, well, who's next? Well, who's next, especially if Ruiz can't go, who's next is Shane Lemieux, who's never played center before. So now you're holding your breath even more about if someone were to get injured. Now, Derek Carr, when he met with reporters, was asked about this offensive line moving forward without Erik McCoy.
Just get rid of Erik McCoy and replace him with somebody. We're praying for Erik and wish him a speedy recovery and all those kind of things for him and his family. But we have a job to do, and our guys, they came to work today with a purpose. I think the intensity and the mindset, and the realization of the situation was important to our guys, and it was nice to see.
Carr's saying the right things, as you would expect, as a veteran guy. But one thing that gives you some degree of comfort, confidence is that, and you would expect this in the NFL, I mean, you prepare for every possibility. Lucas Patrick said that, like, this is something that they actually did work on in training camp.
It may seem more jumbled to y'all, but we do plenty of rotating through the week. We do plenty of, cross-training. So it sounds more hectic than it looks, I guess. I didn't think it felt that hectic. All camp I had quite a few snaps before, and, there were days where played primarily center, and so kind of rely on that and just kind of move forward and, prepare these next 4 weeks.
4, of course, being Derek Carr, and you heard him say prepare these next 4 weeks. I mean, that would lead you to believe that he's going to be the Saints' starting center moving forward, barring something unforeseen. And by the way, I would love it if it was only 4 weeks, because the McCoy injury report was 6 to 8, but he said 4. So, look, 4 being because McCoy went to IR. And with McCoy going to IR, that means he's out a minimum 4 weeks before he'd be able to return from IR. But it may be more than just 4 weeks at that point. The other part of the injury report, aside from just the Saints, is the Falcons, and it's not nearly as extensive as the New Orleans Saints. Only 2 players were DNPs. 2 tackles, Caleb McGarry and Jake Matthews, were both out. We know McGarry is one of the 2 starting linemen that is expected to miss this week. Jake Matthews was non-football injury, was a personal day, was not there on Thursday, but he did practice Wednesday, was not there on Thursday. 2 others, linebacker Matthew Judon and running back Bijan Robinson, were both limited. Judon with a hamstring, Bijan Robinson with a shoulder injury. The New Orleans Saints under Dennis Allen, the familiarity with the Atlanta Falcons because it's a divisional game, that does matter tremendously. And I know it's different now with Kirk Cousins in there as opposed to what you were facing last year, trying to get ready against, if it was Desmond Ridder or whatever direction that they were going to go at quarterback. So it's different because you have a new signal caller there. But I still have a tremendous amount of confidence in Dennis Allen defensively, his ability as a defensive coordinator in this week to game plan. There's a lot of weapons. We know what they've invested, what Atlanta's invested offensively, where they've invested in Bijan Robinson, in Kyle Pitts, in Drake London. They used a first-round pick on Michael Penix this year as well, as we all well know. But, last year you played Atlanta in the regular season finale, the game in the Dome, that became sort of mired in controversy with the late touchdown when Jameis Winston called his own play, but you won that game 48-17. We could focus on the 48 and the late score, but you also held them to 17 in that football game. You know, the game that you played against the Falcons in Atlanta, you lost 24-15. So, you know, it's a little Jekyll and Hyde with Atlanta. That's always a competitive series. It's tough to go on the road and win, especially in the division. But I do feel good about the Saints' defense against this Atlanta offense because they traditionally have done well in this game. Let's see if the offense can kind of find its footing a little bit. And I'll continue to repeat. I did talk to Mike. A lot of you have asked, because I reference often the old Mike Detillier line, you know, a team that loses its starting center fails to cover 80% of the time. So what do you do when both teams have lost their starting center? So I did ask Mike that earlier today. He said, play the under. So maybe not a bad look. We'll see how it may go for the Saints and the Falcons this weekend. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.